Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Mossy Roots Farm. In a previous episode, we discussed grazing the hay field here. Now we're going to go discuss grazing the cornfield. So this year, I got very lucky and have been able to graze the cornfield. It froze, It froze for about a week and a half, and it wasn't ever truly frozen. For whatever reason, the cornfield always stayed soft even though we were below 20 degrees for 9-10 days. We weren't out there as much as I wanted to be, or for as long as we could have been with how much land I gave them and how much we had available to graze. So right now we're gonna go check and see what they've done. And the reason I need to keep checking is because they've been up here for quite a few days, but I want to make sure that the ground is not too soft. So if you can see here, right on this side of the fence, you can see a few hoof prints, but nothing where it looks like they sunk up to their ankles. Now, honestly, I am surprised that it is this dry out for being, was it like February 10th right now, I think? For being February 10th, this is real dry, which is awesome in my book because we get all this dry weather and I can graze these corn stalks. Now, yes, I am new to corn stalk grazing, so I'm probably doing it wrong. So if you see something that's wrong, first of all, let me know so that way I can change it and you guys can help me out, help me learn, all that good stuff. And second of all, take it easy on me because, again, it's my first time really grazing corn stalks. So I have two major concerns when I graze corn stalks. First concern is compaction of the soil because I do not want to mess up the farmer's crops for the upcoming season. So I rent this farm out. The agreement is that the farmer gets to crop this acreage and he does my hay for free, which I think works out pretty well. So I want to keep it good for him because if I destroy this ground and he gets 5 bushel to the acre soybeans next year, well, that's not going to be a very beneficial relationship. So, concern number one is compaction. Concern number two is making sure that the corn stalks are reduced enough that he is able to plant into them without doing too much tillage. Now, I know this farmer and I know he's going to till it anyways, and that's okay. You know, you can't always have no till. There's times where you should till, and maybe that's a little contradictory, but I'll say that. But if I can reduce this corn stalk residue for him, that'll allow him an easier time when he comes in the spring to get this crop field ready to go. And if I can get, oh, why are these things screaming? Come here, chicken, come on, come here. Sorry, Dad left you, chicken, come here. So, if this farmer can get in here in the spring, have less residue to deal with, have the added benefit of fertilizer because the cows are currently pooping and peeing out here, so they are adding things to the soil. You know, plus these corn stalks are not going to break down in a year. All of these, the husk remains, that's not going to break down in 1 year. It's going to take multiple years for the husks to break down. The corn stalks themselves are going to take more than a year to break down, and same with the cobs. You know, these cobs are going to take more than a year to break down. So if I can help this farmer out, if I can reduce the residue, I will benefit him in 2 or 3 years because there will be less that needs broken down. Next year is not going to benefit him as much. Really? You're literally licking the fence post half an inch from the fence wire. Jerseys have no brain cells. But if I can benefit him, make it easier for him to get the crop in next year, create more black soil, because black is what dries out or warms up the quickest, I should say. So, I mean, there's so many benefits in that regard, but I want to make sure that I don't destroy the land. That's why I'm making sure that when Mr. Bully Bull puts his foot down, see, it just looks like it's slightly damp. You know, it doesn't look like he's sinking into his knees or his ankles. So I wanted to make sure of that. I also wanted to make sure they had this little subdivision here, like where Mr. Black Mama here is eating. He doesn't mow right up to the edge, so I was hoping the cows would get in there and eat some of that. Same with along my fence row. I don't mow up to my fence row all the time with my lawnmower, especially later on in the season. I leave it go so that I have something for these guys to eat in the fall. That may be a silly practice, and it may not actually gain them much, but you know, it's all right. But I also wanted to show this video and explain in this video that these tests are being done by me in Northeast Ohio because I was told that I can't rely on tests from other places, which I can partially believe. So here's what I mean by that. I have research documents from a gentleman who I'm pretty sure was going for his master's or his bachelor's, and this was like his thesis paper or whatever it's called. I just have a little associate, so I never had to deal with that, so I don't know exactly. But this gentleman was out in Wisconsin, and he was doing the study of compaction on corn stalks in cattle grazing. And something wet just hit my mouth. And it was definitely slobber or pee or something, because it was not mud. Yay, thank you, cows. But anyways, so this guy was doing these studies on corn stalk grounds, on grazing cattle for penetration, and I think something like, it's been a while since I read the paper, like overall regrowth or something. It was something along those lines. And he said that as long as you get the cows out here and graze these corn stalks at an appropriate time, make sure it's dry or frozen so there's not a boatload of compaction, you know, something along those lines, you're okay. You don't damage the soil, you actually benefit the soil because you're adding disturbance with cows, you're adding reduction of litter that has to then be cleaned up. You know, you're basically converting all that litter into fertilizer quicker, because the whole point of this litter is then to get turned over by a plow or a disc and then to be turned into fertilizer. Well, if that takes 2 years, what happens when it comes out of a cow's belly? Well, it turns it into fertilizer faster. So these are the things I'm studying here in Ohio, and the reason why I'm studying it, not just taking this guy's word in Wisconsin, is, and this is again something that a neighbor farmer told me, and I can understand and I can agree, Wisconsin and Ohio have different soil types. But I'll take it a step further. My neighbor and I have different soil types. He may have a ridge that's all sandy or sandy loam, where I may have a valley that's all clay. You know, we are primarily clay here, but I do sit on top of a sand hill. When we dug the well, it had to be casing for like 280 feet because that's how much sand we had. So that's why I'm doing these studies here and now, because what happened in Wisconsin may happen here, or it may not. But that's why I want to test. I want to see, I want to document, I want to show what we've done. I want to show that there's no compaction or very minimal compaction in this soil. I want to show exactly where the line is that was grazed and not grazed for reference sake. Because if you do not have a control, you have no accurate testing. And there's a lot of corn stalks that have just been beaten down or laid on or stepped on by these cows, which is also going to help when you go in and do tillage, because they're physically going to be reduced to a smaller mass. You guys will have to stay tuned. This year I'm going to be doing videos on whatever. I'm pretty sure the farm is doing soybeans. I'm going to be showing the soybean field, showing how it grows, showing which side of the field was grazed, which side was not grazed. And I'll be doing the same with the hay field, because I am curious. I want other people to know as well. And if I can share my experiences and my knowledge with folks, maybe you guys will be able to get a leg up on me. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Ain't that right, boys?